Card check, camera check, headphone check. Start doing that shit.
And then you're like, it's like you point and you're like, all right, all systems go. What's up, everybody? Welcome in. All Day Bets, Alex, Jacobs, Manny, Ruffin. Hope you guys had a great holiday, great Christmas Eve, Christmas Day with your families and watching all that basketball and football. We saw that LeBron James, after the end of his game with Steph Curry, said that, I love the NFL, but today's our day. And then you have multiple, viewership numbers going out on social media that both the NFL games were above 24 million and every NBA game was 5 million or at least 5 million.
I don't know how that compares to the past, but I think it's just fucking hilarious that literally the last, I'd say, week to 4 days since the ratings total came out, I would say 80% of the NBA games have been very fucking good.
I agree.
Very limited blowouts. It's just very fucking funny. I don't know about that. I don't like playing that. It's so gay to play that game, in my opinion. 24 million. I think the NFL's always going to be the top watch league. I don't know if there's ever been a time in history where the NBA was more watched than the fucking NFL. If anything was more watched than the NFL. I think that's just like a fool's game. But shout out to the league, man. Adam Silver told them boys to log in. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, there's your numbers there. So Chiefs and Steelers 24.1 million, Ravens, Texans 24.3, and then Knicks and Spurs below 5 million, but that was a huge number for them opening up the slate. It's been 10 or 20 years since they've had numbers like that to start the day. Sixers and Celtics 5.1.
What is this post? Numbers weren't relatively close. When have NBA numbers ever been relatively close to NFL?
I agree.
What the fuck are we doing?
And then there's other people, because other people, this is not the only tweet. Ari Mirov is not the only one that's tweeting these numbers. And people are replying to this with, GIFs of being Goodell to Silver. And it's some cartoon smacking some, guy on the ass or some shit. Bro. I'm like,
I think Silver sucks, but
I just don't. But I don't think this is supposed to be in any comparison. And also, Braun's just funny because 2 days before this, they were asking him in his press conference about reporters were asking him about physicality, and he's like, well, I'm a football player, so I'm just physical. And we're like,
okay, I've seen the
what
tape.
Are you talking about?
I've seen the tape. No, I've seen the tape.
What are we talking about?
He might be a football player and a basketball player, talented body, bro. I've seen the tape. You've seen the tape, bro. We've seen the tape.
Come on, bro. What are we
that
talking
boy was
about?
Megatron before Megatron. No, he might have been better at football. No cap. He chose the right sport though.
He did choose the right sport. All right, so we're gonna kick things off here with some more trivia. We're gonna go to college football this time, as we did NFL and Super Bowl spreads last week.
Really?
That is hilarious.
Really?
That is hilarious.
Really?
Just hit the homepage on Twitter and see that Glaber Torres is reportedly signing with the Tigers.
Okay.
That is hilarious. All right.
Trevino gone too, right?
Yeah, he's in Cincinnati.
Yeah.
That's crazy. All right, well,
Bregman's trending.
Bregman is trending. I don't think he will end up in pinstripes, I'll tell you that. But yeah, the Mets are apparently trying to go after him too. Tigers are still in on Bregman.
It was a good try, Philadelphia. It was a good try. We had 3 years and we couldn't fucking do it. We just always drew over ourselves. It was a good try.
And you know what? Just the bottom line, if you don't have money, you will never win in the MLB.
Yeah,
it's just what it is.
No
it's
cap.
seriously what it is at this point. Okay, so to some trivia in the in college football and national champions and national championship games.
Fuck.
I'm gonna be giving you 4.
Okay.
In the 2021 season, the 2022 season, the 2023 season, and the 2024 season. So I'm going to tell you the game. In 2021, it was Alabama 52, Ohio State 24.
Alabama 52, Ohio State 24.
In 2021.
Najee Harris now?
What was the spread? I wish I took the over in that game.
Alabama, what was the score again?
52-24, Alabama over Ohio State in 2021.
Oh, that was post-COVID. Didn't Ohio State play six games? And they were and people thought they were the shit. I'm gonna go Bama -5.
I'll give you another one. It's a little bit higher than that.
Bama -7. Bama -7 that game.
-8.5.
Oh my God. Okay. I'm trying to remember if I lost money on that because I probably would have bet Ohio State in that. I'm pretty sure that's the year they played 6 games, right? They were like Ohio State was like 6-0. Bama played the full schedule and shit. Damn, that's interesting. Damn, good for Bama.
Now in 2022, it's Georgia and Alabama. Georgia won this game.
I'm gonna go
33-18.
I'm gonna go Georgia minus 4.5.
A little bit lower.
3.5.
2.5.
I thought it was something.
I think that's one of like
you
don't really see that in college football.
Yeah, that was
in the national championship.
That was Keely Ringo game winning interception, right? Yeah, I had Georgia that game. How did I not remember that? It was -3. Yeah, oh my god.
2023, maybe this one will help in terms of your thought process for the spread. This was the Georgia TCU, Georgia 65, TCU 7, complete blowout.
It's just -10.
A little bit higher than that.
13?
14.
Yeah, that's wild, bro.
And you know what's crazy?
I think I took TCU.
I think I took TCU
for the
too.
fuck of it. I think I took TCU for the fuck of it. I think I just did
it was like, too many, like, quote unquote, too many points type shit.
Max Duggan
in a national championship, Max Duggan too.
He had the country on lock right at that
right.
moment.
Cause and then this is why the whole conversation started to begin of, oh, these are the teams that don't belong.
Yeah.
And TCU shouldn't have even been there in the first place.
Yeah.
Like, that's where all that came up. So then in 20... Oh, yeah, that's Michigan and Washington in 2024. Michigan won...
I actually don't remember, bro.
34-13, Michigan won this game.
I think it was... I'm going to say Michigan -4.
Yeah, that's, like, right on it. Michigan -4.5.
I think I took Washington, too, bro. God damn, man.
I forget what I did in that game.
I wasn't fucking with Michigan, bro. I'm gonna tell you that much. I definitely was. I mean, as a Penn State fan,
even with Portnoy having like a sack and a half on Michigan.
I wasn't fucking with Michigan, and you know how I feel about Penix.
Penix, yeah.
I don't know for sure, but I definitely could pull up the fan right now. I promise you, I probably took Washington. Promise you, I probably took Washington. Fuck, man.
It's fun to look back
I'm mad
on
I
those
didn't get that
games,
Georgia.
too.
I'm mad I didn't get the one where I took Georgia. Like I literally had Georgia that
this
game.
one in 2022.
Yes.
It's fun to look back on those games, like especially from a couple years ago, to be like, damn, what did I have in that game? Like, just thinking back a little bit further.
What was I want to see what was Cam Newton's fucking John? Auburn, yeah, they were -1. -1.
You just don't see that in national champions.
I would have been riding the Newton train, bro.
Dang, that would have been a sweat though.
Yeah, game winning drive. Game winning drive, that one.
And then fucking LSU -1.5 in 2012, and they get shut out 21-0 to Bama. I don't remember.
Was that Ty Matthew? No, I don't think it was Ty. It might have been Ty Matthew. Texas USC was -7 with Vince Young on the field. That's disrespectful, bro. I mean, nah. USC was that though. Let me chill.
Oh yeah, in 2018. That's crazy. The overtime game. Bama was -4, 2018.
I don't even remember this game, bro. Am I fried?
And then was this? Where's the
Oh, that's Tua. That's Tua.
Yeah, that's Tua.
That's Tua. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I'm like, wait a second. Oh, that definitely did. That was definitely OT when he did that shit. Holy,
it was.
I thought it was like fourth.
It was
yeah, no, I thought it was fourth quarter with timings. No, that was definitely OT when he did that shit. Tua was different, bro. No cap, not to get too far off track, but Tua college might be top 5, top 10. Like he was definitely.
I think what also goes into that conversation too is the situation that he had to come into.
But bro,
not many true freshmen.
That's what I'm saying.
Are popping into a spot like that.
In the Natty, were they down?
Out. So, I believe they were down when he came in.
He is who he is in the league, but that motherfucker in college was he was a different person, bro.
It almost brings up a conversation of ranking guys who had great college careers
didn't translate,
not NFL, which that'll be a different game for a different day.
The book's still out on Tua though. We gotta give that man.
No, yeah, absolutely. All right, let's go to the college football playoff as we finally get to take a deeper dive.
I heard motherfuckers calling this shit the Elite Eight. We gotta find our own name, dog.
Who said that?
I heard a couple people was watching some shows talking about
the
Elite Eight. We gotta find our own name.
Should we try to think of one right now? What would you call it? I can't think of it on the spot.
I can't think of one.
I don't even know what I would call it.
The quarters. I'm on the quarters, bro. I don't know what the fuck we're talking about with the Elite. That shit made me laugh, though.
All right, so we're starting things off kind of backwards. We're flipping this to the last game on the slate, and that's Wednesday night with Georgia and Notre Dame. Georgia being 1.5-point favorites, and Notre Dame plus money at plus 106 on the money line. Your over/under sitting at 44.
Are you more excited for this game or Ohio State Oregon?
I think there's a right answer, and I think it's Ohio State Oregon rematch.
Really?
And that's the one I've been rooting for. I rooted for Ohio State to win that game because I wanted this rematch in that. I want to see Ryan Day in the rematch.
Facts.
I want to see Oregon in the rematch. No matter what happens, I just think I feel like they could have flipped that, but you do get Notre Dame, who I'm so excited to watch, and I've been having such fun watching. But then also on the Georgia side of things, Carson Beck is gone, donezo for the rest of this season, for the rest of this college football playoff. Which does mean Mr. Gunner Stockton is going to have to come in.
I'm going to let a nigga know this is my most anticipated game on the card.
The last game?
Marcus Freeman.
Oh, no, there you go.
Gunner Stockton. I'm going to just get it. Bro, he might be the best high school football player to ever come out of Georgia. I'm going to just read these stats real quick, bro, because I still can't believe what the fuck I was reading when I pulled this shit up. 177 career passing touchdowns, 13,652 career passing yards, 55 passing touchdowns in 2021. I'm pretty sure he had one pick that year. 4,100 passing yards in that year. Rushing career, 77 career rushing touchdowns, 4,372 career rushing yards, and then 956 in 2021. So to his 2021 year, he had like 55 touchdowns, 1 interception, 4K yards, 1,000 rushing. Like, he might be the best player to ever come out of Georgia. I'm not trying to disrespect nobody, but just roll the tape, bro. Because this motherfucker was walking on water.
Say a stat. That's in this Max Preps. In this Max Preps video, there's a stat here. Through his first 9 games in his senior season, he threw for 2,900 yards and 39 touchdown passes to only 1 interception.
Walking on water. No cap, bro. Like, play the tape, man.
All right, let's rock
This might be, if he's not the best player to ever come out of Georgia, he's the best white boy. Stan, I don't care. What the fuck? Like, yo, and then he's on some cool shit. Get off me. Oh, y'all want to send a 0? Oh, fuck it. Spin move. Like, bro, he was on his, look, dot. Why is he wide open, though?
Yeah, why is he wide open?
Look at that Gunner. Here we go. Fuck off me. I'm going to just take off. Like, this is what I was seeing when we was watching the game. I didn't know about the passing bag. The passing bag was a little, he got a rocket. Look, y'all rocket on him.
Look at all that time in the pocket, too.
Rocket on him, bro.
Right in the basket.
You know what I'm saying?
Hey.
A little jump pass.
Hey.
Like,
Ew, what a snag, too. Shout out the catch.
He was different. Fuck off me. Hold on.
Ew, another one. What a catch.
Yeah, so he might, like, I'm going to give him the best white boy to come out of Georgia Stamp. When I look at this game, like, for real, I'm not, experience-wise, like, Carson Beck obviously was around. I'm talking day-to-day practice every day, like getting to know the team, getting more continuity with the team. But when you see Gunner Stockton come in the Texas game, it almost looks like they prefer him, bro. At least the way they play. Maybe it's because, okay, it's the back way to like kind of support him a little bit. But I kind of think it might be a thing where not everyone, but a lot of people on this Georgia roster, either if you're from Georgia or if you just went to Georgia for the last, let's say, couple years, you're a junior, senior, you heard about Gunner Stockton, bro. Like, you definitely heard about Gunner Stockton in 2021, bro. You know what I'm saying? I think a lot of people around his team, around the school, have kind of been waiting on this, bro. I'm gonna be honest. I think people have been waiting on the Gunner Stockton show. I'm not saying I'm gonna bet it, but I'm really, really excited to see this guy go. And even the public, and I even think some of the sharps like him too. Just because he comes in, and he, besides the pick, which I was even cool with, he looked fine. He looked better than Carson Beck did in 3 halves versus Texas, if you want to call a spade. I don't know how I'm going to call it yet. I think one thing that's big for him, too, was the 2 weeks. I think he got 2 weeks right to prep, or at least 2 weeks of practice. Louis prep him with the ones, because I'm pretty sure he's he's playing against the ones when he runs scout, but running the one offense, it's going to be hard for me to back Marcus here, but I do think Notre Dame is a more complete team.
Absolutely.
I just think for some reason there's an X factor energy thing going on. I don't know how I can call this game yet, but I am so excited to watch Gunner Stockton ball out.
Georgia is plus 480 to win this whole thing.
They go up?
It was 480 like 2 weeks ago before the playoffs started. And then it went to like plus 500 at one point or 510.
A lot.
And now we're back to 480. I just feel like I understand it would maybe be disrespectful to Gunner to do it, but like make those odds more enticing. You're playing without your starter. I don't understand.
That's what I'm. Do I need to read the stats again?
Right, but like
and then we can just watch the second half again.
Get me a like your because this is before
they look more inspired. They look more put together. Like they look like they had more like
also,
nuance to their offense, in my opinion.
If you think Notre Dame's going to beat Georgia, then take Notre Dame to win the national championship at plus 700. That's value there.
I still can't believe. I said it before the college football playoff. I think they're probably were the best bet when they were 10-1, and I can't believe they're still 7-1. Like I think you should just take.
Because then you're gonna get they would either get Boise State or Penn State. Most likely Penn State. We get to see the like storied matchup and what that would be.
Sure.
And then you go into national championship at that point. But in terms of value. In terms of these top 6, Notre Dame is in 6 right now, plus 700. And you got Penn State 500, Georgia and Oregon 480, and then Ohio State 320 and Texas 310. I feel like if you think Notre Dame's going to beat Georgia, take the plus 700.
Yeah.
In terms of pure value standpoint,
insane,
where
man.
the best dollar amount you can get on your money back.
Let me see them Boise odds.
8,500.
Oh, they went up.
Yeah, it was 6,500.
Fuck, I could have waited because I had 10-850. I had 10 to 650, but I could have got 10-850. Fuck me. Fuck it. I like that Notre Dame look though. I honestly think they're more complete than Georgia.
Absolutely.
I just think there's that with Gunner being in, there's that X factor that is not really being talked about. It's kind of being talked about more of a question mark. I think it's an exclamation point, bro. Like, I don't know. Obviously, I mean, a little bit rusty when he first came in, but I think he looked, like I said, better than Carson Beck did in 3 halves versus Texas. And Texas, to me, is the best defense in the country. That says a lot to me. So we'll see how he. I kind of lean that way. Surprisingly, bro.
I feel like it would be hard for me to bet against Georgia in this spot, but in talking,
it's hard for me to bet against anybody. It's hard for me to bet against Kirby.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
It's hard for me to bet against Gunner the way I'm seeing him move. It's hard for me to bet against Freeman. It's hard, I legit think Notre Dame. I think Notre Dame's very, very underrated. We've never seen them this underrated. I think it's one of those things, right? I do think Notre Dame should be favored in this game.
I agree.
I think it's one of them things. I don't know if they open as a favorite. I think they might have opened as a favorite. But I think there's a lot of people who are like, think about old Georgia. You know what I'm saying? Jalen Carter, N'Kobe Dean, Georgia. Which I'm not saying like they're still very good. I think Gunner Stockton still adds enough to them. But I think Notre Dame's a little bit better of a team and should be favored. I think if Georgia wins, it'd be by out coaching and then the X factor with Gunner Stockton coming in.
I mean, it's the same. Opened at Notre Dame plus 1.5. That's wild to me. I mean, I feel like come, Tuesday, Wednesday morning, I feel like I'm going to have my actual pick. But, like, right now, I feel like I want to just take plus money, plus 105 on the money line, Notre Dame.
Yeah,
that's where I think I am right now.
I think Notre Dame's probably the better team. Just from based off what I watched from Georgia all year. I just don't really love them as a team. You know that. But that X factor with Gunner coming in. I think Notre Dame's probably the better team, though. And that's probably where I might go. If anything, stay away. Because I don't know if I can bet against this Stockton guy.
And it does help that, a lot of money is on Georgia right now.
That's insane to me, which is true. That's crazy to me.
That's helping me a little bit more. We're in the Superdome in New Orleans where the Saints play. Again, most of these games are in a dome or outside of the Rose Bowl. So it's not like there's any extra weather in play.
Yeah.
I'm probably going to end up taking Notre Dame on the money line. Plus money for the Irish.
I don't hate it.
Backtracking to the 5 o'clock game on Wednesday, that is the rematch of Oregon and Ohio State. Ohio State 2.5-point favorites with Oregon plus money on the money line at plus 110. We got that over and under at 55.5. Just some statistics here on where the money's going on FanDuel. It's 51% favored to Ohio State of the money and 58% of the bets on Oregon. Interesting stuff here. We got Ryan Day that proved some of the doubters wrong in the beatdown against Tennessee, and now you get your much-awaited rematch here against Oregon. I feel like more money should be on Oregon.
Nah.
I think I'm going to end up leaning Oregon just outside of the beatdown that we just saw.
I lean Oregon, bro. I think the public's right. I think the line's right. Bro, if we just try to remember that first game correctly, Ohio State was the much better team in that game.
Absolutely. I was on Ohio State that game, by the way.
There was the problem with that game that I saw, because if I remember correctly, there was a couple goal line stops. They had, I think, 2 red zone or 2 goal line stops Ohio State did. But the thing about that game that when it was such a week 6 game, like such a week 6 game. The refs weren't warmed up to the game yet. First drive of the game, Will Howard should throw a pick. They didn't even review the fucking call. Now remember this game? This was such a week 6 game. Will Howard should do the pick. The guy didn't even control the fucking ball. No review. They go down and score, so it's 7-0 there. There was an onside kick in the second quarter. Motherfucker from Oregon just kicked it right at the guy on the front line, which was a great onside kick. Oregon recovered that. Oregon was going for an extra point. The motherfucker threw a pick. I think they mishandled the snap, and the motherfucker threw a pick. No cap on an extra point on the guy from Oregon. There was also a stretch from that game. Now I remember. Oh my God, bruh. There was another stretch in that game. I think Oregon had a nice little drive down to the red zone. They got stopped. Huge stop. Momentum building stop for Ohio State. I think they get a first down. They're on like the 30-yard line, 3rd and 8, and they just fumble the snap. Give it right back to fucking Oregon. Or I think they had a punt or something. Give it right back to Oregon, and Oregon then scores. This was such a week 6 game that it's hard for me to base too much of a pick off this. What I will say is, though, Oregon's been more consistent. But besides, I would say the Michigan game, this is going to sound like a hot take, Ohio State has clearly gotten at least 2 times better from this game. I'm pretty sure they had a corner get ejected as well I forget, it was like he spit on somebody or something like that. Like Ohio State was haywire during this game. They just were trying to figure themselves out. You could tell they weren't there yet. And I think Oregon was more so like Dan Lanning just doesn't really give a fuck. Like he went for 2. Like he did a couple of things. It was such a weak 6 game that I don't want people to judge it too much. What I will say, I think both teams will be able to move the ball again though. Because besides the red zone, Oregon had on 2nd and long, 2nd and gotta have it, 3rd and gotta have it. Oregon was doing actually very, very well in that game. That was one thing about Ohio State that did bother me, that they couldn't get off the field. Oh my God, what's the motherfucker's name? DJU's little brother. Oh my God, I want to say his name's like it starts with M, like I forget this motherfucker's first name, bro. But he was wreaking havoc that game. And then Oregon didn't even have Jordan Birch, who could probably say is better than DJU little brother. So this is a hard one. This is a hard one for me to call. Mateo, yeah, I don't know if it's Mateo or Mateo. I wasn't going to try to fuck up his name on the air. I was just gonna be fucked. This is a hard one for me to call, bruh. Because I really do think Ohio State was better. I think I lean Oregon. I think Oregon might kind of has the better. It sounds insane. Like I feel like Oregon kind of has the better situation. I kind of trust Dylan Gabriel more than I trust Will Howard. I don't know why. Like, because in the Tennessee game, you can notice that Ryan Day was letting Will Howard air that motherfucker out way more, and he can spin the ball, bro. This isn't even something that I'm just saying because I've seen him play in a 7-on-7 camp when he was playing for Downtown West. But I mean, watching that motherfucker with my own 2 eyes when I was in high school, he was him, bro. Like you could just tell it was a little different.
He said, "I'm one of them ones."
You could just tell it was a little different coming out of his hands, and even whenever Ryan Day lets him air it out, bro, he looks pretty fucking good, man. I think there's been a couple of hiccups and a couple of things that have gone wrong with that team, especially with the O-line. That's not been talked about. They've dealt with a lot of injuries on the O-line. And it's a little bit of a mismatch here with the Oregon D-line and their O-line, but you could say the same with the Tennessee D-line, and Ohio State look good. I don't think I would run to bet against Ohio State here, even though I'd probably do lean Oregon.
I definitely lean Oregon.
I just think coach quarterback in the game, but fuck, man. I think people are going to be sleeping on Ohio State and just completely forgetting that Ohio State was the better team in this game. They 1,000% should have won that game.
I definitely lean Oregon, but how about, let's just note again the spot that Ohio State's in, the spot that Ryan Day is in. Continuing to have your backs against the wall and going against all the noise, going against the adversity. I think in a spot like this, I want to root for Ryan Day in this spot.
How much in momentum? Momentum's a huge factor, especially in playoffs. They just beat Tennessee 42-17.
Right. When everybody was like, Ryan Day, you're done.
Yeah. We just seen them beat them 42-17. Oh man. I think I kind of like the over, but I might get
yeah, which is at where is that? That's 55.5.
Yeah, in Pasadena, this Oregon offense has looked insane, just steady throughout the year. Is that Oh, never mind. I'm tripping. That's their money line. I thought that shit
Yeah.
said 13-0 on the over.
I know 6 and 7 on the
I was
over under
about to
this
tweak
season.
the fuck out.
Both teams 6 and 7 on the over this season.
This is a tough one for me to call. Right now, as of whatever, what is it, Thursday, Friday? I kind of lean.
I think there's people though that
I
are looking at
lean
this
Ohio
though
State.
and saying the number 1 team in the country is plus money.
I think Oregon being an underdog is disrespectful.
Yeah.
But I think the books are doing very calculated disrespect.
Absolutely.
Like very calculated. That's why I kind of because they remember that game more than anybody. I think they lost bad in that game, and I think they remember that Ohio State was a better team. I don't think they were public money's all over Oregon. They're not respecting that money at all. I damn near lean Ohio State, man. It's very hard for me to get to Oregon here, and even though I like Dan Lanning more, I like Dylan Gabriel more. I heavily lean Ohio State.
Me too. At the beginning of that, I figured Dylan Gabriel, Heisman finalist,
Yep.
Oregon 13-0.
I mean, Tez Johnson, the running back, James, 1,000-yard rush. I'm pretty sure 1,200 yards, 15 touchdowns, one of the most underrated running backs in the country. I love Terrence Ferguson at the tight end spot. I'm pretty sure I would say he's top 5 tight end in the country. They have multiple All-Americans all over their offense, defense. Fuck, man. DJU's younger brother, probably one of my favorite players to watch. Then they get Jordan Burch back, who's one of the better interior D linemen in college football. It is a very, very hard game for me to call. One thing I will say, though, one of my favorite things to watch in this game is the Ohio State back end. You got Caleb Downs back there, and I think the other dude's last name is Ransom. Fuck, I'm forgetting. But that's probably one of my favorite back ends to watch in college football. And then Oregon has a very, very, very good back end themselves. This is a very nice DB game to watch. A lot of people, we watch the trenches because the trenches is crazy. They have JTT for Ohio State, who's been causing havoc for the last, I feel 5 years in college football. But I think the back ends on both sides are going to be very, very fun to watch.
I'm definitely
JTT versus MU.
I'm definitely.
This is this is a crazy matchup
at this point.
Man.
I think I'd be eager to see when I wake up Wednesday morning what my thought process is going to be, but I think I just am not going to be able to talk myself out of. Let's just root for Ryan Day. Just take Ohio State.
There was a situation that this is what it was. There was a situation last year when people were saying it's so hard to be a team twice, and Washington was fried the shell to Oregon twice. So I don't know. I just want to bring that up too, because I remember that was a big thing last year when Washington played Oregon again. Everyone's like, "It's hard to be a team twice. Hard to be a team twice. Hard to be a team twice." And they beat the shit out of them 2 times. So I don't know. Oregon might be able to get it done.
There are 2 games left on this on the quarter slate. Both of them being double-digit point favorites here. That is Texas and Arizona State. Texas 13.5. If we do remember from the Clemson spread, it was 11.5. Come game time, got up to 13.5. This started at 13.5, got down to 12.5, and now is back to 13.5. Arizona State plus 400 on the money line, and the over/under 51.5. Looking at some stats here on FanDuel, 71% of the money and 64% of the bets on Texas on FanDuel. Look, for Arizona State here, you got Bo, and that's much different than how Clemson, in their run game and what Texas had to go up against. I saw this one thing I wanted to read here for a second. Just in terms of running. I'm not reading too much into this, but I just wanted to read it. Texas is 0-2 this season when allowing more than 3 explosive runs this season, which is worst among power conference teams. I only say that because it's Bo Scatterbo, and this is a guy that could have been in the conversation of Heisman finalist. And when you think of a run game that Texas hasn't really matched up well against, I mean, they have in their Clemson matchup, we're all seeing how Arizona State in their Big 12 championship, Bo Scatterbo won that game himself. He's the only reason they won that game. I mean, every run, it was 6 guys would try to tackle him, and then he's breaking out of another tackle, and then another tackle, and then another tackle, and then another tackle, and then another 40 yards, and then it's another 40-yard game. We're already in plus territory in the red zone. I think it's going to be tough for them to stop that, and just based on a weird stat like that, let's just say that does happen, they get 4 of them or 5 of them. Maybe that's something to look at here. Also, Texas is 1-8 against the spread when in a 1-score game since the 2023 season, which is second worst in the FBS. And then looking at Arizona State, too, the first team in Big 12 history to win the conference after being last in the preseason poll in the same season. That is very, very cool for Arizona State. Really happy for Dillingham and the boys and the program that's being built over there. I want to lean, just because I got some skin in the game and some family out there in Arizona State, I feel like I want to go Arizona State plus 13.5. But based on how I was not dead wrong on Clemson, it did end up coming down to just the half point. But I did have it at 11, so I guess that doesn't matter. I feel like Texas is going to be able to cover this 13.5. Like I don't know. I feel like I'm going to be maybe I'll just ride with the family come Wednesday morning, but I'm scared of this Texas team. And they proved me wrong. They proved me wrong.
The boys
Clemson.
getting scared of the Sark, man. I try to tell them about that boy Sark, dog. He's a demon. The thing about this game, right? I feel like there was way more certainty with the line in the Clemson game. I mean, people have been there a couple years, things like that. This Arizona State team, like you said, was last in the preseason poll. More like most likely because they were just not completely built from the transfer portal, but heavily built from a new coach and a heavily built transfer portal team. Talking about the most underrated player, Sam Leavitt, their quarterback. Michigan State, people knew he was going to be a dog come from Michigan State, but not knowing how much. Obviously, Arizona State's not a team you expect to be in the college football playoff.
Absolutely.
But people knew Sam Leavitt could hoop when he was at Michigan State and kind of felt bad for him over there. I've been talking about Jordan Tyson every time I bring up this Arizona State team, but there's not many 1,000-yard, 10-touchdown wide receivers that legit don't get talked about in the country. And I think a lot has to do with that with Sam Leavitt and Scatterbo, but I think there's a lot of uncertainty with this line. And the fact that Clemson was able to claw their way back, that second half tape's going to be really revealing, I think, to Dillingham and the boys. Sark, dog. Like Sark's gonna find a way to cover this spread. I know what's gonna happen. I'm not saying I'm gonna bet it, but I just feel like Sark gonna find a way.
I think
so,
too.
It's just because the Texas explosive plays. Like it was so many points in that game where you feel like even when it was already a blowout, but I just feel like Clemson like second and long, second and gotta have it, third and gotta have it. They're still airing that motherfucker out, getting 40-yard chunk plays like just down the side. I just think the way they can get the explosives going for Texas and how good their defense is, it's really hard to say they won't cover spreads, especially this high, because it's all about getting stops.
Right.
I just don't know, man. That explosive run play stat you showed was very, very, very.
I only say that just because, like, if it wasn't Bo Scatterbo, I wouldn't have been talking about that stat.
Exactly. It makes it seem like this is a game where he could kind of wear them down.
Right, like he did in the Big 12
championship.
championship.
Get them frustrated. And the thing I think is going to be highlighted in this, well, at least for Arizona State to keep it a game. I could be wrong. I don't think it's a Scatterbo 120, 150 yards. I think it's a Scatterbo 76 yards, 80 yards. But a lot of carries and a lot of attention, and then we get to play action and Sam Leavitt can air that motherfucker out. I think this might be the game where you see Sam Leavitt and Jordan Tyson, and motherfuckers like, oh my God, I didn't know they had to do it like this all year. Yeah, they had to do it like this all year. I think Sark gonna load up on a Scatterbo train because I think he subconsciously I would be thinking the same thing. There ain't no way they could score the ball without this motherfucker getting explosive. So we're just gonna put 10 in the, we're probably gonna put 10 in the box, 9 in the box. I'm not gonna lie. You might see a lot of 9 in the box in this game. And just testing Leavitt and testing Tyson to see what they could do. I think
let's remember.
I think 13.5 might be too much of an uncertain high number. I think it should be more like 10 or something like that.
With Clemson, they make it a 7-point game, a 1-score game, and then as soon as they kick the ball back to Texas, it's a 77-yard touchdown to go back down by 14.
Yep.
So, like,
just
if you can find a way to eliminate those big chunk plays and what you said, getting stops at this point in the season, and I think Arizona State has the tools to be successful in this game.
They do.
It's just
we just don't know if they're on that level.
How overpowering is SEC football,
Absolutely.
Texas compared to Arizona State? And I think that's the question that needs to be answered.
We've seen Texas be vulnerable a couple times this year, man. I lean Arizona State. It's so crazy because I'm actually shocked. When they cut, you said when they cut to 7, I thought for sure Clemson was going to at least.
I thought we're like, oh my God, we might.
I had a chance they might win. Yeah, I had a chance they could win because that shit I was talking about before we were bringing down that game. How just they really had these lapses when they're especially double-digit favorites. I don't understand how that happened, but they ended up covering the last game, so I'm not gonna talk too much shit. It could be another under too.
51.5.
Yeah, just thinking. I'm not going to call because the last one flew over, but I'm just thinking with the run attack mixed with this Texas defense, I ain't going to call it because the last one flew over, but I'm looking at it. I do lean Arizona State, though. I think it could be interesting. I feel like I don't think this line's as certain as the last one was. I think the books were really confident in that 11. You saw some fluctuation. They bought it up. I think the books were really confident in Texas in that last game, as you saw how the respect they gave them. I don't know if they're as confident. I think this is more so a reactionary line. Obviously, I mean, they're professionals. They make lines. They're way better at reading the games than I am. I'm just saying. I think it's more so a reactionary line, reactionary bets coming in on Texas. Because this line's not flying up the way you think, or the way I thought it would be. Which at least, especially with 71% of the money on Texas, what we saw last game, it's not. I thought we'd be maybe see a 14. They're not gonna let it go to 14. I lean Arizona State here. Honestly,
I feel like I lean Texas, but with
your heart's telling you to take.
My
Arizona
heart's
State.
telling me to take Arizona State.
I think your heart's probably right, bro.
My cousin's in the College Garage. She'll be there with the team.
I think you're
flying the charter team, flying the charter plane with the boys to
fire.
Atlanta. I don't know. I feel like I just in this spot. I can't bet against them. So I'll probably just take Arizona State with the points. But I'm not gonna be surprised and I'm not gonna be mad if Texas does what they did early to Clemson to Arizona State.
But the lapses
again,
are always there, man.
I also would
The
not be
lapses are
surprised
always
if Arizona State makes a comeback like Clemson did.
The lapses are always there.
Let's just not go down way too early in the game where it looks like we got to climb up Mount Everest to get back in this game.
Absolutely. And I think the break's going to be really good for Arizona State. They had to win. They had to go on a tear down the stretch to win the Big 12. The Big 12, the Big 12 shit was a little bit of a cake, but I'm just saying that just the games they had to win, mental taxing, like how much of a back and forth just carousel that Big 12 was. I think the break was actually really, really good for them. As far as some other teams, people might say the break is bad. So I don't know. I think Arizona State can make it a game here.
To the final game in the quarters, another double-digit point spread, favored to Penn State at 10.5. This was 11.5, now down to 10.5. Boise State plus 330 on the money line, over under 52.5. And a stat from Penn State, again, talking about Genty in the backfield and this rushing stat. Penn State is winless 0-5 against the spread when allowing 100 or more rushing yards this season, which is tied for the worst in the FBS. I say that because we have the best running back in college football that they're going to have to try and stop.
That is very interesting. I might look up like similar matchups for Penn State because that's a really interesting stat. I kind of felt the same way about how they might fare versus the rushing attack. I didn't have the stat though, so I'm gonna look at their schedule. Oregon, I'm assuming, had 100 rushing yards. I'm not gonna look at the game. I'm just gonna assume. Ohio State definitely had 100 rushing yards. What's a similar game? What did Illinois do versus them? Illinois got fucking stuffed. Who else put 100 rushing yards on? USC. USC had 189 rushing yards. Jesus fucking Christ. I think there might be a telltale sign here of matchups. What did Minnesota have?
Oregon had 87.
Oh, that's crazy. Minnesota had 100 rushing yards, and they should have legit lost that game. That is fucking crazy.
Ohio State 95.
They had 100. That's a 2 running back attack.
Right.
I think Oregon probably had 100 too because that's a 2 running back attack.
You're right.
Yeah, fuck. That actually changes my mind a little bit. I was thinking Group of 5 talent might get over the edge here. I think people are going to be buying too much of that Oregon matchup. Bro, how I saw Dan Lanning coach that game, or coach a lot of games earlier in the season. I'm not ready to call too much on it yet. But I don't know. When you bring up that stat in terms of style, it's just it's the Genty train, bro. And if you can keep the ball out of this Penn State offense's hands so they can't burn the clock on you, because they'll burn the clock on you all day with Allen and Singletary and then let Drew Allen do his thing, but they'll run that clock down and wear you out all damn day long. And then you watch the SMU game. The SMU game was pretty much lost from them passing the ball. You know what I'm saying? So I don't know if Boise State go try to do that. 10.5 might. I think this might be, like I said last week. I was saying last week, Boise loves a spot like this historically. Obviously, it's all different teams, different coaches, exactly, whatever. One of the guys who's a key part of that is coaching the Eagles right now. But historically, this is a spot for them. Oh, my God. This public is split. Jesus
59% of the money and 51% of the bets on Penn State.
I think there's got to be heavy money coming in on Boise for the books to respect that line movement down with the public on Penn State. I don't listen. Y'all know I don't trust Penn State in no big time spot. I don't even care about that SMU game. Anytime I see 2 big spread for State, I do not trust it, bro. I would never trust it. That's just as a fan, though. So you can't. It's hard to bet as a fan. I definitely lean Boise on the number, especially with the run. Like with that run game stats, insane. There's no. How many times have Boise not rushed for 100 yards this year? Ever?
I was about to say.
You know what I'm saying? Has there ever been a game they haven't rushed for 100 yards this year? So it's like, oh my god. I don't think you have to look, bro.
I know, it's almost every game.
It's got to be every game they rush for at least 100 yards.
First game of the season, he had 267 yards and 6 fucking touchdowns.
They're going to find a way to run the ball. They're going to find a way to run the ball on you, man. They're going to find a fucking way to run the ball on you. So yeah,
I think I'm with you. Like I think I take Boise with the points, 10.5.
I think I lean Boise.
And like what's weird is
State's gonna have to turn even like the drives that State didn't listen. Turnovers is a massive part of if you can turn the ball over on defense, you will be a top defense. All I'm saying is, without the turnovers and where those turnovers happen, if you peep where the turnovers happen for SMU, they were all in plus territory. Like legit, all of them were in plus territory. So that SMU was moving the ball, and they don't want to run the same offense that Boise State does. And the way Boise State's gonna turn the ball over, if my opinion is if Genty puts the ball on the ground. And I don't think he's going to put that motherfucker on the ground.
Not once did we say with the Texas and Arizona State game, is that too many points?
Kind of. I think it's like I said, I think it's uncertainty. I think there's uncertainty with that line. I don't think they really know
Penn State, Boise State, I'm like, I don't know. Like, I don't know. Like, I think Boise State can cover that.
Yeah. I think they can cover that as well.
Look, and again, like with SMU, I was teeter-tottering kind of how I am right now with SMU. But, like, the real big picture was a lot of noise at Beaver Stadium. Weather's on our side. We don't have that anymore. We're playing indoors. We're playing inside.
Let me see. I saw the one thing that's kind of scary, though. That Penn State offense was humming indoors last time they played indoors. And in that Boise, Boise was off to the lead versus Oregon. They're up 20-14 at half, and Oregon has that 13-point third quarter, shuts them out. I think a big part of this game is if Boise can get ahead early. Penn State's usually a sluggish. Like, they like to start sluggish, but like the SMU game. Even the SMU game, they started sluggish and could have been down 7-10-0, but they found a way to get those turnovers. I just don't think Boise's going to have the same turnovers that SMU did. I lean Boise, bro.
Me too.
I think Boise's going to cover this.
And then the winner would get Notre Dame or Georgia.
Yeah. Notre Dame's probably going to get a cakewalk to the Natty. Good for them.
If they win this game, yeah.
I mean, yeah. I think it's kind of crazy, but I think Notre Dame's just a little more complete than Penn State. That's a really even matchup. It's a really even matchup.
And then let's just say you assume, right, let's just say Texas wins. Do you think it would be Texas-Ohio State? And then, I mean, either or, that game's going to be insane.
Nah, I legit don't know.
I don't either.
Oregon,
Texas-Ohio State.
If I had to pick a natty right now, honestly, at the top of my head,
I would pick Notre Dame at plus 700.
I would, yeah. I think realistically, we're going to get a Big Ten championship rematch. I really do. I mean, I said it earlier just because of the bracket and all that. I thought Penn State was a great natty bet. I think if you're holding Penn State and Notre Dame right now, you're fucking living life. That would have been the best. That probably is. I should have taken both of them. Whatever, fuck it. But I think both those teams from the right side of the bracket probably had I like them the most to win the natty. Which sounds crazy. I think Texas is great, man. There's just something about that team. I don't know, bro. And I want Sark to win so bad so he can change the ties on his name. Something about that team just screams choke job on the way. I don't know why. You know, and I'm talking about, and I'm saying Notre Dame and Penn State don't have it, but like I don't know. Something just screams choke job on the way.
Okay, to the NFL on Sunday. There's a couple games to cover here. We touched on some of them earlier in the week. But starting with Saturday's game, that is tomorrow at 4:30, the Broncos and the Bengals. Bengals favored at 3. I originally, at the beginning of this week, I was leaning more towards Bo Nix and the Broncos, but this game means a whole heck of a lot for Joe Burrow and the Cincinnati Bengals, where they win this game, then they keep the playoff hopes alive for next week, and they will need the Broncos to, obviously right now they'll have to beat the Broncos tomorrow, and then they will have to have the Broncos lose to the Chiefs, then the last game of the season. Bengals have to win out as well, win their final game of the season. And the Bengals could sneak their way in the playoffs. It is not over for Joe Burrow and the Bengals. And for that reason, give me the Bengals at -3. Give me the Bengals as a money line leg for a 3 or 4 leg money line parlay. I'm going with Joe Burrow and the Bengals because they're not out of this. And a couple weeks ago, we thought they were out of this.
Absolutely. It's not a bad pick at all. I wish I got 3.5 with the Bo show. Oh man, I just think besides before I get to my notes, I actually just want to see like what Sean Payton's done off of losses. So he's lost 2 times in a row versus Ravens and Chiefs. Bounced back emphatically versus the Falcons. Lost to the Chargers. Bounced back emphatically versus Saints. Lost to the Steelers. Bounced back emphatically versus the Bucks. I'm liking Sean P off a loss this year, and this game means that like they had to win that last game versus the Chargers to clinch the playoffs. If you want to keep going weeks without clinching, they got to go to. Don't they have to go to Arrowhead the last week of the season? You can't keep going weeks without clinching the playoffs, bro. Like, and Sean P noticed. The most interesting shit I had about this game that was Bo Nix versus bottom half total defenses. So if I did yards allowed in any team in the bottom half. That was Atlanta, 38 points they scored. Indy, 31 points they scored. The only 2 times they lost to a bottom half defense was the Chargers, where they scored 27 and 16. Both those games, their offense looked decent. I just think that's the division matchup, the hardball knowing your team. Carolina, 28 points, bottom half defense. Saints, 33 points, bottom half defense. Bucks, 26 points, bottom half defense. They're 6-2 straight up, and the only ATS losses are they're 6-2 straight up and 6-2 against the spread. Only ATS losses have come in the division to a bottom half defense. I kind of like them in a spot versus a bottom half defense with no familiarity, especially fucking Sean Payton with the ability to take advantage of this. And then the other stat is Cincy versus a top half defense. Washington, Chiefs, Ravens 2 times, Eagles. They're 0-6 straight up and 2-4 against the spread. I think it's just a stylistic mismatch for them. I mean, it's just a horrible defense going against a team that capitalizes on good offenses versus a good defense. I wish I got 3.5 because I had the Bengals by like 3 or 2 game-winning field goal. I pray to God I can see 3.5 again because I think 3.5 is way too valuable. The books probably peeped it and were like, fuck it, we can't have this hanging in there too long because holy fuck, bro. I think a lot of the numbers and a lot of ways like these spots we go on board for the season have completely are pointing towards a Denver spot. I lean Denver for sure.
And the Bengals would finish their last game of the season in Pittsburgh against the Steelers.
Like, what the fuck is like the brother? Not make the bro. Come on.
Right, because Tomlin.
They're gonna win both those games.
No, because
bro, the Steelers.
I don't think they beat
the Steelers haven't won a game in 3 weeks. They haven't covered a spread in 3 weeks. They haven't covered a teaser.
Yep.
A 6-point teaser in 3 weeks. I don't know who the Steelers have this week, but my God,
They're
I wouldn't want to play them down the stretch at all.
Well, that was their week was losing to Kansas City.
Yeah. So
that was like their week.
So they get to sit and wait.
They have to sit in this and sulk in this
it's
piss.
Over for them. If Joe Burrow makes the playoffs in this, bro, if he gets past this spot, which I think is a horrible spot for them, and then gets past the next spot, which I think is even worse, Joe Burrow, he one of them, bro. I mean, we know he's one of them, but my God. Yeah, nah, bro.
And they're gonna end up flexing that game. They're gonna flex that game. That might be a night game.
I'm probably fading the Bengals this week and next week, bro. To be honest,
that might be a night game.
Yeah, but I think matchup wise, I think it's just a bad matchup for the Bengals. We've seen this matchup multiple times this year versus a top half defense, and it's just not. They score points, but just as far as winning and covering, it's very hard for them.
All right, let's go to the Cowboys and the Eagles here. The Eagles are 7.5-point favorites. Jalen Hurts is still in concussion protocol. Kenny Pickett, per Adam Schefter, is ready to go. He will be ready to play because Hurts is still giving thumbs up to refs to make sure that he doesn't have to go into and get checked in the medical tent. I am happy with this decision. He should not be playing. I don't sit him for the rest of the year. Get these extra 2 weeks. Get the mind right, get the body right, and then we'll see you in the playoffs. I'm not worried about that. Saquon Barkley is 268 yards away from breaking the rushing title, and that shouldn't happen either because that would mean he'd most likely have to play in Week 18 against the Giants, which I think you got enough revenge on that franchise, buddy. Yeah. Rest up. Don't get yourself injured. Would be cool to see. FanDuel, you probably took millions of dollars from people taking that record-breaking tab of Saquon Barkley to break the rushing record. I in this situation, I don't even want to bet this game, to be honest with you. But I probably would end up taking Cowboys plus 7.5. No CeeDee Lamb. He's shut down for the season with the shoulder. We're getting to like some of the really crappy games with injuries and teams that are out of the playoffs and teams that aren't really playing for anything at this point anymore. I feel like the best bet here without Jalen Hurts, we just saw what happened without Jalen Hurts last week. And we not only didn't win the game because of obviously some defensive struggles too, but We didn't cover it all either. This is a 7.5-point favorite spread here for the Eagles. I'm taking Dallas plus 7.5.
Yeah, I don't really know this dude.
I also don't even want to bet it.
I don't know.
But if I was,
I don't know
Dallas.
how you bet on Cooper Rush in Dallas without CeeDee Lamb, because that's just been the whole shit. And then just how we looked last week. Is that what does that total say? What the fuck am I reading?
38.5.
Oh, I thought I said 48.5. I was going to say bet the under. What the fuck?
Right.
Okay, 38.5, yeah.
Maybe I just do, you know what? Maybe I'll just do like Saquon Barkley, like total yards, rushing and receiving. You know what?
That's a good bet. That's a good bet. Yeah. It's just a very disgusting game. I think A.J. Brown to score. I had A.J. Brown to score last week. That's probably good.
Awesome. That was plus money last week, too.
Yeah, if Kenny Pickett is the quarterback here, he might be a good look because he just seems to be like, listen, he did the same thing with George Pickens. This is why, like, when people are like, why are you like Kenny Pickett? Why are you like Kenny Pickett? Bro, this motherfucker doesn't care. If you're my best wide receiver, you're getting the ball. I don't give a fuck who's on. Like, I love his mentality behind the game of football. He's not the best player of all time. I just love his fucking mentality behind
Kenny two gloves, bro.
I mean, that part he could fix. I would like him more if he had just rocked the one glove, but it's all good, bro. Yeah, I can't bet this game, bro. It's just there's too much uncertainty.
Also, the game is meaningless for both.
If Jalen Hurts plays, I think you bet the Birds for
right,
sure.
but he's not.
Yeah, it's like he's ruled out completely.
He's still. Schefter came out today and said that Kenny Pickett's ready to go because Hurts is still in concussion protocol. Don't know if that means he's going to officially get himself out of that.
Yeah.
But if I'm anybody in this Eagles organization, I'm in no rush to get Hurts back out there. When we got the playoffs around the corner, the Lions got a game on you guys now because of the loss to Washington. Like, do you put all your? I mean, the Lions they don't have an easy stretch. Like the Eagles could still potentially get the one if you think about it. You know, Lions got 49ers in San Francisco, then they got the Minnesota Vikings back at home at Ford Field.
I think that's not going to matter either because of what Jordan Love's going to do to them. So,
right.
That's just my opinion, though. That could very much be a fucking massive game, and that's probably what everyone wants, right?
Right.
Campbell having to go full throttle last week versus Minnesota.
Just be careful with this Eagles game because there's not a lot. You know, take that with a grain of salt, but there's not a lot at stake here for both parties.
You could maybe tease the Eagles down. I wouldn't touch it, bro.
It's just weird. We saw what happened when they're not. And again, it wasn't all on Kenny Pickett. So, like, let's just make sure that's out there, too.
I wouldn't even say it was close to being. But that's
like, the defense let up 22 points in the fourth quarter alone is what it is. So
I think that was more so. I think that was a lot of. I think coaches are going to take a lot of shit in that game. I was really like, it was not the greatest coaching performance I've seen, but it happens, bro. You know what I mean? I think they take that personal, which is like if you wanted to bet the Eagles, coaches taking this shit personal, realizing it might have been their fault they lost the game. I think next week is definitely a good omen to back the team, but I just Kenny P. You know what I'm saying, bro? It's laying 7.5. Me with Kenny P laying 7.5.
That total's just so ugly.
I could put myself in better. I could put myself in better situations this weekend.
That total is so ugly to look at.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, it is. You could tease that up probably and have a nice little
Yep. All right, moving to the Packers and the Minnesota Vikings.
This is gonna be a fucking fire game.
Jordan Love and the Packers are minus 110 on the money line.
Sharp guys love
Vikings are minus 106, and this point spread is 1.5, favored to the Green Bay Packers. Vikings are in a huge spot here because they are not only competing for the NFC North with the Detroit Lions, they're also competing for that number one spot in the NFC, which is crazy to think about. So if you are the Vikings in this situation, you find a way to beat the Packers here. You go to 14-2. Then you go to Ford Field in the last week of the season to go 15-2, which would most likely give them the number one seed, which is insane because the Lions are in San Francisco on Sunday Night Football, and then they will host the Vikings there. I still feel like both of these two, like, I don't think the Vikings win this game, but let's just say they both do. We get absolute cinema in the last week of the season.
Need that. Hashtag need that.
Winner gets
I would fuck with that.
The North. Winner gets the number one seed. We need that. So with that being said, I feel like I just laid it out for myself. I got to take the Vikings here, even though I really want to take Jordan Love and the Packers. But I want that cinema in Week 18. Winner gets the division. Winner gets the one seed. both in the same division. You can't beat that. What winner's going to be 15-2? Come on now.
Too far. Yeah, I gotta be on the Packers here. The Packers probably legit feel like they handed that last game to the Vikings at Lambeau too. That leaves a bad taste in your mouth for a long time. And if you see how, go to their schedule for me, because peep how they bounced back the second time versus the Lions too. Like, we remember how that game ended. Looking at the box score, the Packers should have 1,000% found a way to win this game, bro.
Yeah, I mean, they also did go down 28-0 in the second. That's insane.
Yeah, but
that shouldn't have happened either.
I remember watching this game, like the end of this game, I feel like the Packers 1,000% should have won this game, bro. A lot of the Jordan Love picks were just crucial, but they look like that. Like, it's crazy. Minus the picks, because they were the Vikings were getting the ball a lot in plus areas. They looked way better than the Vikings. Jordan Love throwing 3 picks. I think it might have been 4. Like, that's a telltale sign for me. I forgot about the picks, bro, which makes it even more of like a fucking Packers spot for me. He motherfucker threw 3 picks in his plus area. We lost by 2, came back. Looked legit better. Like, I remember watching that game and believe that team looks way fucking better. That is a telltale sign for me. Besides that, similar kind of situation with the Lions. Like, you lose, like you outright lose the first matchup, which they feel like they should outright win. Cold, rainy, wet game in Lambeau. Come back a couple weeks later, and the Lions, I mean, you could call them lucky, call them whatever they were, sneak out a win they should not have won versus Packers. Packers look better in that matchup again, in my opinion. I think you're going to see a theme here with these guys in their bounce back spots, in their pride spots. I think the Vikings could very well win. I just think how close it's going to be. I'd rather have the Packers in a spot like that. I think Jordan Love's a better player. I think Matt LaFleur's a better coach. Even though Kevin O'Connell's going to get Coach of the Year, shout out to you, bro. I think Matt LaFleur should have multiple, but they just slight him because of I guess Aaron Rodgers or whatever. But we see what he's doing after that. Coach player revenge spot. I think the Packers need to keep winning as well. Like, they can't afford to have a too hard of a first round matchup, bro. Like, I think in terms of seeding, this game is fucking massive. Both teams with a loss are sick as fuck, But I think the Packers bounce back in a big way here, honestly.
And then if after this win, that would put them at 12-4.
I think the Packers are the 3rd best team in the NFC.
And then
I've been on this all fucking year.
Their last game, they host at Lambeau. They host the Bears, so you would then be 13-4. I completely forgot that motherfucker threw 3 or 4 picks. How does that even make you confident in the Vikings in this game? They literally got the game handed to them and then taken away, and they got lucky at the end. That is mind blowing. I fucking forgot about that shit. And the bounce backs, I'm all over the Pack, bro. I might go 3 units, bro. I'm not gonna lie to you, bro. This is a classic LaFleur spot, too. LaFleur loves this type of shit. He's the most underrated coach in football somehow. I'm going to pull up the stat, bro. So, hold on. If it ended today, that means the Packers would be going to L.A. against the Rams.
Yeah, that's too
Jordan
easy.
Love is moving on.
That's too easy for LaFleur.
Yeah.
Here it is. Most wins in first 100 games as a head coach, last 40 seasons. I guess the bull that coached Joe Montana, I would assume George Seifert, 78 wins. Mike Holmgren, 68 wins. And then Matt LaFleur, 67. Bill Cowher, 67. Andy Reid, 67. That motherfucker is in that type of company. People don't talk. I feel like I'm one of the only people that talk about Matt LaFleur on a consistent basis on some fanboy shit. Like, people talk about McVay over LaFleur, which is wild to me. And this motherfucker is in the most crazy company you could be as a head coach. I think he's in another spot where you can just classic out coach a guy, and people are gonna be like, damn, LaFleur might be a pretty good game, motherfucker. I think he went 3-0 with Malik Willis this year. Like, should Jordan Love have sat out for more games and we could have watched him win more Malik Willis? We'd be like, oh my god, Matt LaFleur is a fucking outstanding coach. I think it's a great spot for him. As a LaFleur guy, as a Jordan Love guy, I feel like it's a perfect spot for my guys. I think they take advantage here. Bro, shout out to the Vikings though. The fact that we're in this position right now, like Kevin O'Connell, shout out to you too, bro.
The Vikings have 2 losses, man. This is insane.
We were talking
I was dead wrong.
We were talking about starting J.J. McCarthy to start the year. We were laughing at them, legit laughing at them.
Yes.
And they go 13-2 with Sam Darnold, bringing Brian Flores from Miami, which I think he's a great coach. I think he should 1,000% be a head coach in the league, and you see why. Mainly nameless defense besides Harris Smith and a couple guys that we know from a history with the Vikings. Completely nameless defense. They are the top 5 in the league.
Jared Allen.
You know what I'm saying? Top 5 in the league, bro. I would hate to see the Vikings go down like this, but I just think it's my guys have to keep backing them. I've been saying about the Packers all year. When Love was hurt, I didn't care. When we beat them week 1, I didn't care. I was saying that could be the NFC Championship matchup again. I think there's a high chance it could be. I'm all over the pack, man.
And there's nothing wrong in that. Like, I just was wrong about the Vikings team.
Bro, I couldn't have been more wrong. Like, couldn't have been. I think I had the Packers sweeping them. I think I had the Lions sweeping. I think a bunch of people in the comments like, how are you
I think that is right,
the
though.
Vikings?
But the Packers video,
It's right on the
if
name.
they lose one, they would have to go 1-1 to be 12-5, and that's what you said.
I don't know what they have. I
12-5.
forget what they have week 17, but I wonder what a win here does for them. They probably have to keep winning.
Who, the Packers?
Yeah, because I wonder what a win here does for them completely. Obviously, it puts them in a great spot, but I just wonder compared to what the rest of the teams have to do. I wonder if it kind of locks on a spot for them. Because you can't win a division, right? You can't leapfrog Atlanta, right?
No, because that's divisions.
That's what I'm
top
saying.
4.
So you can only get to this 5 spot.
And that's probably not happening because
And
Vikings or Lions beat them twice.
So we're playing the Rams
head-to-head.
So we're playing the Rams regardless.
Yeah.
We're playing the Rams. I can't wait for. Oh my God, I'm going to be
or
the pack.
Like,
oh my, and we're going to LA. Oh,
but hold on, the Rams.
Oh my God.
The Rams.
Oh my God.
This is a great spot for the Rams to be
in the playoffs.
No, I'm saying right now. I'm saying because to lock in their seed.
Yeah.
Because Seahawks 9-7 now.
Yeah.
You can go 10-6 if you're the Rams. You can lock it up.
And then we gotta have Jordan Love and him come visit us. My
Yeah.
fault. He probably gonna retire Matthew Stafford old ass. That's crazy. Yeah, I'm on pack. I'm on pack all the rest of the way until they play the Birds. It's my opinion.
Falcons and Commanders. Falcons visiting the Commanders on Sunday Night Football, as the Falcons are 4.5-point underdogs, plus 172 on the money line. The over under 47.5. Okay.
I think.
Michael Penix,
yeah,
Jaden Daniels,
like historical spot wise, right? Rookie quarterback after kind of a coming out party, on prime time second start. Usually is when you see like the ebb and flow kind of go down a little bit.
I love this spot. This spot for the Falcons.
Don't think it's gonna happen with Penix. I think the same thing with Jaden Daniels. These quarterbacks have been in college for a little bit. So I think Jaden Daniels was in a similar spot. Remember he played the Bengals on Monday Night Football? I think that was week 2 as well. I'm going to double check it. So I'm pretty sure I want to say Jaden Daniels was in like a similar spot. And these guys who could just ball out, it doesn't really affect them that much. Let me see. No, that game was week 3.
I remember that game.
That was week 3 though. But still, that was Commanders coming off. They were coming off the big they were coming off the Giants win. Where I think did Jaden Daniels have a game-winning drive? Oh, wait.
No, Giants just lost Graham Gano. They weren't kicking field goals. They were forced to go for it on 4th down.
Field goal. No.
Malik Neighbors had the drop.
It was tied. 30-yard field goal with 4 seconds left. Yeah, so that's a game. I'll take game-winning. So I guess I'll say game-winning drive. Next game at Bengals on prime time. So I think Penix is in pretty much the same spot that Jaden Daniels was in the last when he went against Joe Burrow and them. I don't think it's going to affect Penix that much, and I think there's way too much respect coming in on the Commanders for winning the game they won.
I'm taking plus 4.5 Falcons.
I'm not going to do like the excuse train too much, but like when a team loses their quarterback, right? What people don't understand about being a backup quarterback is like they have different skill sets. Like Penix and Kirk Cousins have 2 completely different skill sets. When you seen Penix coming in the game, late games this year for Kirk Cousins, he's running Kirk Cousins' offense. He's not running Penix's offense. Last week was the first time we've seen Michael Penix's offense. You know what I'm saying? So when I'm talking about the Commanders game, Kenny Pickett is coming in and running Jalen Hurts' offense. Now, how similar are Jalen Hurts and Kenny Pickett? You know what I mean? Like you will probably see it if Kenny Pickett plays this week. You'll probably see how much different their offenses look. And I think people are like, they came back from this much, they beat the Eagles, without too much of the context going on. I think that for some reason, I probably because they're lovable and they have Jaden Daniels and they have Dan Quinn. Every time the Commanders get a really nice win, the market completely overreacts to me. Like, why is this spread 4.5? No movement. I'm pretty sure a lot of the money's on Washington too, with no movement. You know what I'm saying? I'm on the Falcons here. I think the Falcons are playing for a lot down the stretch too. I'm pretty sure they have the Bucks. Don't the Bucks control their destiny at this point because of what happened? Or no. The Falcons control their destiny because of what the Bucks did last week. Correct?
Because the Bucks lost to the Cowboys.
So the Falcons completely control their destiny in a spot like this versus a team that I think is very, very overrated.
I'm taking the 4.5.
Yeah, I think the 4.5 is a great
and I may sprinkle on the money line too, but I'm sprinkling. I like that point though because Jaden Daniels was on prime time there.
Yes,
it was a
game.
big spot.
Yeah,
Terry McLaurin had a big game in that spot.
Yep.
I just want to briefly touch on the last month of football for Bijan Robinson. I don't know if it's being getting talked about enough. I think the person that's been shining the most light on this individual player has been Booker with Trent because of his season-long bet where he had, his most yards. And in the last month of football, just running the ball on the ground, 26 carries, 102 yards and a touchdown. 22 carries, 92 yards and a touchdown. 22 carries, 125 yards. 22 carries, 94 yards and 2 touchdowns. Unbelievable. Very consistent, and he's getting the ball a shitload. I'm taking the Falcons plus 4.5. Like you said, they control the destiny here. Michael Penix in this spot. Who doesn't want to root for this kid? Who doesn't want to root for this guy? So it's Falcons or bust for me. And also, just from the win that the Commanders had last week against the Eagles, and Commanders fans talking their talk and trying to act like, they're sticking their shoulders out because they had a big win against the big bad Philadelphia Eagles. I don't count that. I think you guys are.
I mean, it was a great win.
Good job,
I think it's there's just market overreaction.
It's unbelievable to me.
There's a lot of overreaction.
You guys got the win. Good for you, but you're not this again. Like I said, you're not on this pedestal that you think you are. When hopefully everything stays the same, Commanders will come visit the Eagles in the playoffs in that wild card in that first round, and I think the Eagles will just murder them and we'll all be like, oh well. What I thought the Commanders were actually really good. No, it's just because Jalen Hurts wasn't out there and you had to play 3 and almost 4 full quarters of Kenny Pickett football. Mm-hmm. Okay, let's not overreact.
Kenny Pickett football under the Jalen Hurts playbook, which I really don't think the average football fan knows how big that. You have quarterbacks that legit differ styles. I would even say 180. You have Mr. Refined, I'm going to make the right play every single time. Give me an easy offense to run, Jalen Hurts. And we've all seen Kenny Pickett play football. That's legit backyard football in a nutshell. They're not meant to run each other's offenses, which I think was so big in parts of the comeback and the turnovers that happened. There was miscommunications on blitz pickups and shit. I think that was. I mean, that's a big context game.
You don't think Jalen Hurts is winning a game when his opponent turns the football over 5 times?
Yeah, no, I think he loses that game.
Be
somehow.
fucking for real,
I think
bro.
Are
you kidding me?
I think somehow he loses that game. Also with the Falcons too. I think the last 5-6 games they look incredible. They also had a game where Kirk was still the quarterback, which I thought Kirk should have been benched in week 6. That was just what I call it in the season. They were tied with the Minnesota Vikings for 3 quarters, and then Kirk throws. I think he has 2 picks in the 4th quarter. They have a fumble and losing that game by 21. That game was legit tied through 3 quarters with the Kirk Cousins Falcons. I think the Falcons are very, very undervalued in this spot. I'm all over them.
Going to Monday Night Football, last game of the slate. Monday Night Football. Lions 3.5-point favorites in San Francisco against the 49ers. Plus 152 for the Niners on the money line. 90% of the money and 90% of the bets are on the Detroit Lions. Does this shock anybody? Not necessarily. But it is still wild to see that much money on an NFL game. Because we can even look back at games that have all money on one side. Like Brandon Aubrey and his minus 5.5 Thursday Night Football primetime against the Giants. Oh, he just so happens to miss his first kick of 50 or more yards in his career. Just so happens. Something like this here, 3.5-point spread, could see something like that. But I also could see the Lions winning by 2 touchdowns. So this is very simple here. The Lions have to win this game. We kind of covered it already with the needs that both the Lions and the Vikings have at stake here and what this game means for both of those teams. I think the Lions roll here because they got to get themselves back to Ford Field, back at home to beat the Vikings in the last week of the season to then clinch that 1 seed and the division. So I'm taking the Lions here. Nothing spicy about it, nothing fun about it, just a system play.
Yeah, this isn't I'm definitely not going to run the bet this game pregame. Just because they're still hanging the 3.5 and 90% of the money. If you can read situations very well, it's setting up for Lions win by 3. In the books to win. So I'm not going to run the bet this pregame. I will be looking for a very nice live number on the Lions. I just think with Dan Campbell saying what he said, and like I said before, with Jahmyr Gibbs getting the full workload, and he's looked incredible with that point. I think he's going to still look good. The 49ers are clearly playing for zilch. Nothing's going on out there for them. They're people probably considering. Like I saw the way Nick Bosa was talking to fucking Mike McDaniels after that game.
Yeah, he said it's nice in South Beach.
It looked like motherfuckers. They was going tampering, but they look like motherfuckers trying to get out of there. So I don't know. I wouldn't bet the 49ers either. It's crazy enough that the fact that this number has stayed at 3.5 with 9% of the money on Detroit, which means the pros and the wise guys in Vegas absolutely love the Niners. Like they are probably putting bags on the Niners. I disagree. That might have happened before Dan Campbell came out and said what he said too, because they probably were betting on the chance they were, guys say they're not gonna go as hard. When Dan Campbell comes out and says something like that, they probably all shut themselves and try to find a way to buy out. Yeah, I'll probably look for a live number on lines. It's easily if you bet on the 49ers, bro, good for you.
Weirdo.
Good for you. If the Niners had something to play for, I'd probably be on them, but just with nothing to play for, you playing the Dan Campbell Lions. They bullies, bro. So I can't wait for them to get. They the bullies that are gonna get bullied. They love beating up on these teams. They doing fake fumbles versus the Bears and shit. Like they really like to be bullies, bro. They probably gonna bully the Niners here. Get the buzz. Wait till the bully gets bullied. I'll be here to let you know when to fade the lines, but this ain't the spot to fade the lines, bro. I'll let y'all know right there.
Certainly not.
Not the spot to fade the lines, but I can't wait for these bullies to get bullied, bro. Because it's so shameless to what they do. Like I can't wait to see the little tricks they pull out of this game. They probably be up by 17 doing tricks and shit. They are just so like I can't stand it, bro. Shout out to my Uncle Mikey though. I'm happy you happy, bro. But it's gonna be a heartbreaking end to y'all season. I hope the Packers do it if we don't. I really hope the Packers do it if we don't, because I'd just be, oh my God, lovely. LaFleur, lovely. There's so many. Bro, people probably think LaFleur's the third best coach in the North, which is wild to me. Like, insanity. I think he's by far the best coach in the North. But it's like, you just sound wild saying that right now.
People would definitely say Dan Campbell.
How? Like, how?
I'm just saying.
How? Like, you know what I'm saying? Motherfucker's only behind. I'm pretty sure the motherfucker who coached Joe Montana and Steve Young, and then he was behind who? Holmgren, was it? Mike Holmgren?
Yeah.
Like,
and Andy.
He was ahead of Andy. He was tied with Andy.
Oh, he's tied with Andy. That's right.
Like, come on. Like, I don't know, man. You know what I'm saying? He's definitely the most respected coach in the league. I understand why white guys feel slighted these days. I get y'all, bro.
All right, that's the show. That's the program. Plenty of stuff in the NFL this weekend, and then get ready for the quarters of the college football playoff.
Yeah, stop calling that shit the Elite Eight.
Yeah, I'm over that.
Lame ass.
I'm over that.
Calling that shit the Elite Eight.
I'm over that. If you did watch this on Apple Podcasts and YouTube, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, like, comment, subscribe, and give us those ratings. We'll talk to you after the weekend and into the college football playoff. Alex Jacobs, Manny Ruffin, All Day Bets. Good luck this weekend.